The historic market town of Aylsham lies just over 10 miles north of Norwich on the main road to Cromer. In 1880, the town was joined to the growing East Anglian railway network by the construction of a 9-mile-long branch line connecting with the East Norfolk Railway's Norwich to Cromer line at Wroxham. To serve towns along the route, stations were provided at Coltishall and Buxton. Although the Great Eastern Railway extended the line beyond Aylsham to County School in 1882, it was never really popular with the travelling public, and the railway limped on from year to year, existing mainly on its freight traffic. So it came as no surprise when all passenger services were withdrawn in 1952. The remaining freight traffic lingered on for another 30 years before that too ceased and the line closed altogether. In 1984 the track was removed and Aylsham lost its railway. And that's how it could have remained if someone hadn't built the Bure Valley Railway. Easter 1991 saw the railway in a state of transition. Following the collapse of its parent company, operation of the railway was in the hands of the official receiver, who at the same time was locked in negotiations with several prospective purchasers. Although we didn't know it at the time, it was also to be the last few days of steam operation using locomotives from the Romney, Hythe and Dymchurch Railway. So it was business as usual, as Winston Churchill and Black Prince were being prepared for the day's traffic outside the loco shed at Aylsham. Also in use over Easter was the BVR's own diesel. This uniquely designed diesel hydraulic is fitted with a 105 horsepower Bedford GM 330 engine. For carrying passengers, the railway constructed 20 of these 26-foot long coaches. Here, one of the coaches is seen standing on the inspection ramp at Aylsham. Each train is equipped with a four-wheel guards van, or power car as they're known on the BVR. As well as providing accommodation for the guard, they also house the standby compressor for the air brake system. With steam raising now complete, Winston Churchill runs down to take coal. Meanwhile, the diesel leaves with the empty stock working for Wroxham. While Black Prince's driver starts to whirl round, the driver of Winston Churchill gets to grips with the coaling shovel. Having been coaled and watered, Winston Churchill now leaves for Wroxham. Staff shortages over the Easter period meant that even the line's engineer had to be pressed into service as a temporary guard. With Winston Churchill now clear, Black Prince is able to move down to take coal. As the diesel returns with the first train of the day from Wroxham, it's time to take a look at some of the other features of this interesting line. Starting here at Aylsham, with Winston Churchill making a typically atmospheric departure with an up train for Wroxham. After leaving Aylsham, the line has to cross the busy Cromer Road. In British Railways days, it did this by means of a level crossing. The crossing keeper's house still marks the spot. But to avoid delaying the traffic, the BVR uses a specially built 200-yard-long tunnel. Once through the tunnel, the line climbs steeply to regain the route of the old railway. first stop out of Aylsham is high on a windswept embankment at Brampton. At the Wroxham end of the platform, just over a minor road bridge, is Brampton Loop, the first of 3 passing places between Aylsham and Wroxham. Other than this notice board, the station has no other passenger facilities. With a strong wind blowing across the embankment, Black Prince passes through the platform and enters the loop. Once through the loop, the train crosses the Brampton Road Bridge before making the short journey on to Buxton. At Buxton, the original station building still exists, although its platforms have long since disappeared. The BVR station is about 100 yards away, and like Brampton, it's just a short concrete slab platform with no other facilities. Both Brampton and Buxton are halts, which means that trains only stop if requested. After its short trip down from Brampton, Black Prince hurries through Buxton en route to Wroxham. The old Buxton station is now in private hands, and I wonder what the original promoters of the East Norfolk Railway would have made of Winston Churchill as it runs past their old station towards Aylsham. On the 2-engine service, the trains normally meet here at Hobbis Loop. There's no platform or proper station here, and it's used purely for trains to pass. On a misty Easter morning, Winston Churchill drifts into the loop to await the arrival of the down train. Once in the loop, the driver must wait at the stop board until the controller at Aylsham gives his permission for the train to continue onwards. The loop points are controlled by weights, so no ground frame or signalman are required. With Winston Churchill stationary in the loop, the diesel runs through and continues on to Buxton. Between Hobbs and Coltishall, the line runs on a low embankment along the bottom of the RAF station runway. As we saw earlier, trains normally pass at Hobbs, but because there are 3 passing loops, it is possible for the controller at Aylsham to reschedule trains to pass at either Brampton, Hobbs or Coltishall. This is very useful in the event of a delayed departure from Wroxham or Aylsham. Here, Winston Churchill enters the loop at Coltishall, while alongside, a late-running diesel awaits clearance onto the single line. Like Buxton, Coltishall has retained its delightful original station buildings. At the time of filming, they were empty and up for sale. On leaving Coltishall, the train faces an almost steady climb up to Bure Green. There are only two level crossings on the BVR, one at Spratt's Green between Aylsham and Brampton, and the other here at Bure Green. Neither crossings have any form of road lights, and traffic control is very much dependent on the common sense of the motorist. Here, Black Prince slows to the statutory 5 mile an hour before accelerating away to Wroxham. The BVR station for Wroxham is at Hoveton, alongside the British Rail station. It's a much smaller station than Aylsham, but does have the advantage of a direct footpath link with its full-size neighbour. Passenger services on the British Rail line are operated in the main by small multiple units. Here, a Sheringham-bound example braves the fierce wind and rain en route to the coast. For some reason, the fine Easter weather decided to come to an end on the day we filmed at Wroxham. But I hope that it doesn't spoil your enjoyment of this small piece of history as Black Prince enters Wroxham and is turned before starting the return 9-mile journey back to Aylsham. Shortly after we made this film, the railway was sold, and sadly the locomotive leasing agreement with the Romney Hythe and Dymchurch came to an end. Both Black Prince and Winston Churchill have now returned to their more usual surroundings on the Romney Marsh, while in Norfolk, the Bure Valley is making a new beginning.